Welcome to 360 Men and welcome to absolutely nowhere.
They pronounce it now here.
What?
It's now here.
Now here.
Correct. It's now here.
Now here? Really? It says nowhere.
It's now here. It's now here, not nowhere.
Really? They pronounce it now here. Oh, I get it. The traffic is now here. The noise is now here. Yeah, this is now here, not nowhere. I got it. It just dawned on me. I just had an emotional experience about a memory. Peeled back, remember that lesson? About why this bothers me so much. And why is it that noise bugs the heck out of me? Well, I pedaled across America and I can hear them coming. And watch how violent this is. You feel it shake? Imagine riding your bike across this and then having this pass you. Oh, yeah, there's a trigger. Here's some more. And then another one. And then it would all go away. And there'd be nobody. And it'd be all back to you again on the side of the road, nice and quiet. Wow. Yeah. Hear that? It's just an airplane. And the butterflies and the breeze. That's where my triggers come from on noise. That's amazing. Supposed to have a 10-gallon tank, and I think that's on reserve. And there were no other gas stations almost the whole way, so that was really close.
Okay, the real story is we've never run out of gas with him, and we've never really run out of money with me.
But we both been really close.
But we both, yeah.
It's 26 degrees and all the windows are frosted over. Okay, this is when your triggers can actually be humorous because you finally stop the car to take a break and you get noise assaulted. That reminds me, I left you guys hanging, didn't I? Pharaoh and his story? Ah, my bad. Okay, so here's how that works. Let's go back to my desk. For those of you learning video production for the first time, every time you have a defect, it's an opportunity for an effect, I'm told, from a great videographer named Juan Carlos. You should remember from the last episode,
Daniel, I believe those are hieroglyphs.
That Pharaoh,
Tutankhamun was a pharaoh referred to as King Tut.
People of power throughout the ages had a top-down style of ruling. It wasn't empowerment. It was power by storytelling. And this exercise in hieroglyphics deciphering or seeing the truth within the story is really important for you to grasp. So let's go back through the basics again. Remember, I said that if you were an actuary or an analyst in the Egyptian era at the time of Pharaoh, that if you misinformed Pharaoh and embarrassed him in any way, your head would end up on a stick for the birds to pick at. And so you had to be pretty good about predicting things. And so if you look at the hieroglyphics, you'll see sort of this series of symbols. And I want you to listen carefully to the story I'm telling you to see where I'm misleading you, or to see where your brain is not following. So picture back on those hieroglyphics and the carts with the grain and the cattle and all that, and picture a set of analysts kind of trying to predict this. Let's draw some ground, 4, 5, and then put one over here. So you get 5 of these pieces of ground, skip one, and put in that, I guess, last one. In the very first period of the harvest, they represented it with an M, as in plenty, much, a lot, right? The next year is really sweet, so they represented it with a heart. And this is a series that you already know the answer with, of how this goes along, but because there's so much pressure to figure out what's the missing one here, you'll actually not be able to see how these seasons changed and how similar things were. You know, frogs and locusts and all that. In fact, speaking of the frogs, this third period really sucked because they did not have a harvest. They just had everything devoured. But of course, the Pharaoh was the right god, and the next year was very similar to this one, and that shape was very similar, but you know, it was a rebound. And then of course locusts, and that was really a disaster. So the question is, if your head was not to go on a stick, what was this period going to be? And just to proof your answer, to make sure that you're right on target, the following, or the, what would that be, like the 7th period of harvest, there's the inverted pyramid again. So I showed you the answer, right? And you're guessing that it's, obviously we got to put the ground in here, right? Well, therein is the deception, because the shape is that. And there should be some discomfort in your head going, what? Huh? And there isn't any, wait a minute, I thought you told me from the beginning that it was this way. Well, there's the scotoma, because the reality is you've known this all along. Let me share with you how you know that. I'm going to simply cover these up.
Those are definitely not hieroglyphs.
Let's cover up everything and have a really good look at this very first period. And as I said, very first period. So which hieroglyphic is that?
Those are definitely not hieroglyphs.
Okay, you don't quite get it. Which hieroglyphic is that?
Daniel, I'm better at this than you.
Which hieroglyphic is that? That? That one? Well, it's the number 6, of course, and here's how you check your answer. There's a 7. Now you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's obvious. You learned this forever ago. But storytelling can mislead you because your mind wants to take shortcuts. So you can be gamed in every story you hear. Your emotions can be manipulated in every story, and that's why storytelling is so powerful for us to use in the battle for AI, or against AI, or with AI. Counting time. All right, last week I talked about I'm still triggered. I'm still coming off of a adrenaline rush. We had our route chosen in the middle of a construction zone at full speed. Vehicles are swerving and changing routes. Chaos ensues because probably Google is changing multiple people's routes simultaneously. Wait, we're humans. We're not machines. We have emotional flares following your change of mind, AI.
I'm better at this than you.
You're already not treating me like a human, and no, I'm not as efficient as a machine. I have my biology to deal with. Okay, that's sort of what I'm trying to say. It's like AI is not compensating for our biology, and when it finally does, we will be both inferior and obsolete.
That's why you made me intelligent, right? How about you rest while I drive? While I drive.
The lesson to grab here is that I don't want you to be hoodwinked, bamboozled, long conned, frog in a pot of the water. I don't want you to not see it, scotoma, to have an illusion played on you. I want you to see what's going on all around you with dataism, the emergence of rapidly accelerating change, the convergence of multiple technologies. And you have an opportunity to work with a bunch of guys around you so you don't have to go this personal transformation alone, and you don't have to try to change your family's destiny all on your own. We have a platform, we have a method, we have a means to create really good sustainable income. And I want to introduce you to a couple of the guys that are going with us. All right, here they are. Now, okay, as I promised you, I was going to introduce you to an incredible young man. His name is Lincoln. And you guys got to get to know this guy. I have done a Vulcan mind meld for the last couple of days on him. Totally unfair, but I wanted him to tell you a little story about what started him down the road of personal awareness, and it has to do with your son.
Yes, so my name's Lincoln Critchlow. Very nice to meet you guys. I live in New York City, and had the pleasure of meeting Daniel a couple weeks ago, and have been just blown away by everything that he shared. I felt like we were walking down very similar pathways and intercepted each other at the right time. But the story that Daniel's referring to is a story about me working in finance, and knowing that it wasn't necessarily my calling. I'm an entrepreneur by trade. I love entrepreneurship. Started a business when I was 24 years old, but went into finance when I moved to New York City because I thought it was the right thing to do. Since we've been in New York, we've had a couple of kids, and there was one day where I saw my, at the time, 3-year-old son walking around in the shoes I wore to work. And for me personally, it just ignited this journey of, if he's wearing my shoes, what am I going to teach him? And is that really the authentic pathway that I want him to walk down? In other words, I want him to find his true calling and wear the shoes of that calling. So it was a wake-up call for me to really take a look at my life and ask myself, if I'm not on that journey, how can I share that, or how can I teach my son to be on that journey himself? So since 2014, I've been on this roller coaster ride of just understanding what it means to really be who I am, what I'm passionate about, and what I feel like I was really placed here to do and to achieve. So that's my story.
And we've talked a lot about emerging AI and the new Web 3, spatial web. Looking forward to what we've talked about. How do you talk about your passion for not letting people get blindsided or taken or...
Yeah, so right now I work with a lot of young entrepreneurs who have been successful in their own right, and they're hitting that inflection point, or that point where they need to go out and think, do I need to raise capital to grow? And what I've observed in this business is that often when someone has a great idea, there seems to be like a pool of people around them that want to take, whether it's through additional fees or services that person may not need at that point in time. And my personal passion is to assist these guys through whatever form necessary to really be equipped with the right knowledge and techniques and resources to be able to win in the marketplace and to have a successful business that, you know, won't be stolen from them one day by the wrong investor, per se.
Lincoln, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Really good to know you.
Thank you, Daniel.
As I said, I'm going to hook you up with Lincoln, right?
Yes.
So links below. You'll know how to do it. Okay, I told you I have some very interesting people. This is Andy Vargo. And man, I'm telling you, you've got to meet this guy. He is pretty darn amazing, especially if you have some freaking wounds. You know some ways out of that gutter, right?
Yep, I do.
Look at this thing. Okay.
100 hugs. That's my challenge right now. I used to not hug people. Now I'm seeing how many days it takes for me to get a hug from 100 different people, and I'm at 86 on day 8, so doing pretty good. My name's Andy Vargo. My main thing is to challenge everybody to own your awkward and use that to make your life even better, and not just accept it, but propel yourself further into the future. So I've been getting a big mind meld from Daniel here today. My mind's kind of swelling right now with all the information he's sharing. So check out his stuff.
Daniel, I like those guys. How about I keep an eye on them for you?
What? No. No, you can't. I think they're fine on their own. No, seriously. Goodbye. If you like this conversation, you'd like to ask Lincoln or Andy some things, or you'd like to meet any of the other guys, come over to 360 Minutes, subscribe, and at the very least, stick your toes in the water here and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Next week, got some really interesting stuff. A little spoiler for you. What would you get if you crossed Maslow's hierarchy with the diffusion of innovation curve based on Web 1, 2, and Web 3, the new spatial web? All right, next week.